absolute chaos at Ibrox as a £100 million disaster unfolds. Rangers spent a fortune, and yet the team looks worse than ever. Barry Ferguson's fuming, calling out the madness sweeping across Scottish football as Hearts sit top of the table. A teenage loanie's being hooked at halftime nearly every match, exposing a brutal weak spot on the left. And now, the biggest warning sign of all, Youssef Chermiti, the striker who cost up to £10 million, is being lined up for a January exit after just one goal. There's a pile of massive news today, and I'm getting this recorded before the Dundee game kicks off. Don't fancy filming it raging after the final whistle. How, in the name of Walter Smith, do you spend £35 million in the summer and end up looking worse than last season? Andrew Kavanagh must be sitting somewhere, absolutely beeline, wondering how on earth this circus has unfolded on his watch. The man handed the keys to recruitment over to Kevin Thelwell. And what's he got to show for it? 12 new players in the door, not one making a real impact, and Rangers getting taken apart by Roma right in the heart of Ibrox. 2-0 on the night, but it could have been 4 and you'd have no complaints. Now, the talk is that another £70 million is going to be needed over the next 2 windows just to drag this squad back to a competitive level. That's over £100 million total just to fix the shambles we've got now. If that doesn't scream mismanagement, what does? And let's talk names. Nasser Giga, a walking mistake. Youssef Chermiti for £8 million, invisible. Thalo Arsgaard, Oliver Antman, Bojan Miovski, all hyped, none delivered. You could get better output from a Lanarkshire Sunday League unseen. The fans were promised a fresh era with the American investment, a new structure, a new vision. Instead, you've got supporters turning on Thelwell and Patrick Stewart before Christmas, a chief exec and a sporting director overseeing a recruitment disaster, while the new manager role is left holding the bag, working with Russell Martin's leftovers. You can't build a house on rotten foundations, and it's looking like Kavanagh needs to sweep clean before a single penny more is thrown at this. Get the sporting director out, bring in somebody who knows the Scottish game, understands what it means to wear that shirt at Ibrox, and stop this clown show before it gets worse. Should Rangers sack Kevin Thelwell before he's allowed to spend another single penny? You couldn't script it, could you? Barry Ferguson's looking at this season and shaking his head like the rest of us, wondering what on earth has happened to Scottish football and to Rangers in particular. The man's seen a lot in his day, but even he's calling it madness. Let's break it down. Danny Roll's been thrown into the Ibrox dugout after Russell Martin's disaster spell, boasting a win rate barely above a coin toss. Over the road, Celtic are just as chaotic. Brendan Rodgers jumped ship, and now they're dusting off Martin O'Neill for one last dance. Meanwhile, Hearts of all folk are 9 points clear of Celtic and a whopping 14 ahead of you. Hearts, top of the league, and a manager in Derek McInnes who's squeezing every drop out of that squad like it's his last shift at the Barras. And here you are, staring up the table, watching a team that hasn't even spent half what you've wasted since the American takeover. Rangers have conceded 35 goals in 23 games. 35. For a club built on defensive steel, that's not just embarrassing, it's a betrayal of the badge. Nasser Giga and John Sutar are supposed to be centre halves, but it's like they've got boots on the wrong feet, and up top, Youssef Chermiti and Bojan Miovski couldn't finish their dinner, never mind a chance at Ibrox. 1 goal in 12 for Chermiti, 2 in 13 for Miovski. Numbers that would get you benched in the Lowland League. Barry reckons there's no chance Rangers or Celtic skip the January window. And let's be honest, if either of them do, they're writing their own downfall. Roll is already demanding 2 new signings, but with the club already hemorrhaging money on failed transfers, do you trust the folk upstairs to get it right? Kavanagh and the 49ers enterprises have watched things fall to bits since stepping in, and Tony Bloom's got Hearts playing like Brazil while Ibrox turns into a punchline. That's the reality. If there's one thing you need from a wingback at Rangers, it's consistency And Jayden Magoma's delivering the exact opposite. Brought in from Brentford on loan with high hopes, he's now looking more like a stopgap than a solution. 15 appearances in, and the biggest contribution anyone can remember is an assist against Kilmarnock. Since then, substituted at halftime in 3 of the last 5 matches. That's not development, that's damage control. Danny Roll clearly wants to play with wingbacks. That much is obvious. But when your only real option on the left is a 19-year-old who's getting hooked after 45 minutes time and again, then the system's already broken before the match even kicks off. Magoma's stats don't lie. 0.9 key passes per game, 0.6 successful dribbles, and an average rating that barely scratches 6.5. That's not Ibrox standard. That's not even championship level down south. Yes, he puts in a few tackles, but Rangers aren't a team that should be parking the bus and celebrating clearances. We're supposed to be bombing forward and pinning teams in their own half. That's the level, that's the standard. Stephen Thompson called him rotten after the Brand match, and to be fair, he's not been far wrong since. There's been no sharpness, no end product, and now no trust from the manager. You can see it in Roll's face every time the ball goes out wide. He knows Magoma's a liability. This isn't about slaughtering a young lad, it's about recognizing what's needed to win titles. If you're 14 points behind Hearts in November, you can't afford passengers. The January window isn't just about topping up the squad, it's about surgery. And that left flank, it's a gaping wound right now. So here's the real question. Should Rangers cut Magoma's loan short in January and bring in a seasoned left back who's actually capable of handling the pressure of Ibrox football? It's getting beyond painful now. Youssef Chermiti's time at Rangers is turning into a cautionary tale. A tale of wasted millions, shattered confidence, and another black mark against Kevin Thelwell's record, let's call it what it is. 1 goal in 12 appearances, 28th in the league for goals scored among Premiership strikers, a goal every 506 minutes. It's like he's allergic to the net. And when your price tag's nudging £10 million, sympathy only stretches so far. Derek Ferguson's shown compassion, saying it's not the lad's fault. He cost what he did, fair, but you're wearing the 9 shirt at Ibrox. You don't get time to bed in or find your rhythm. You get chances and you finish them. And when you miss sitters in a derby against Celtic, you don't just disappoint, you devastate. The truth is, Chermiti shouldn't have been signed in the first place, not at that fee, not with that track record. Thelwell plucked him from Everton where he couldn't make an impression, and now he's dropped him straight into the fire at Rangers. It's reckless, it's arrogant, and it's burning the club. Now, Braga are circling, ready to take him on loan in January, and honestly, it might be the best thing for everyone. Let the boy go home, get some minutes, find a bit of belief, because right now, he looks like a shadow of the player Thelwell tried to sell you as. The heat map shows it all, lots of running, but little presence where it matters. You need your striker in the box, in the right place, punishing teams, punishing, not floating about the halfway line like he's playing 5-a-side at Power League. This whole saga has become a symbol of a wider failure, of scouting, of recruitment, of leadership from the top down. Chermiti might bounce back, but Rangers can't afford to wait for maybes. If you let him go in January, should Kevin Thelwell be made to explain to the support how he thought a 1-goal striker from Everton was worth £10 million? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Drop a like to support the video, and if you love daily Rangers content, hit subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. See you in the next one.